All right, boys and girls, welcome to tonight's episode of Sawdust Talk. I'm going to be filling in for Kyle this evening. I am TJ, and all of the cool kids are starting to pile in. Let's see who we got. Maybe. Look, that still works.
What's up, buddy?
Greetings. Just a quick check. Is my audio crazy loud or am I sounding okay?
You sound marvelous.
Oh, thank you, sir. Let's see, who else wants to join us in the magic mirror? Remco is here, our guest from the crafting Dutchman. And I believe we are waiting for one more person. Yeah, move the camera back a little bit. Remco, thank you for joining us, bud.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning indeed. You got about 7 hours on us, right?
Yeah, it's about 5 o'clock in the morning here.
Good gracious. All right, let me see if we can get one more host in here. If she has arrived, it does not look like she is here yet, so we're going to hang out for a little bit. But yeah, glad to have you on tonight. I'm sorry Kyle can't make it. He's got some scheduling conflicts, but I'm going to be filling in for him.
Yeah, no worries.
And then, have you met Kyle down here yet?
I have not.
No, but I've watched you do the show as well. So
Awesome. This is perfect. Let's see if our third host has arrived. Good gracious, there's so many cool kids in here. Well, I guess while we are waiting for her to arrive, we can give a quick shout out to George Supply Co., who sponsors Sawdust Talk. He is the fellow behind making sure that makers all over the Instagram have access to merchandise to help promote their brand, and he is just a darn nice guy, that Scott. So we're happy to have him around.
yeah, he's an awesome dude. Yeah, does great work. Sure.
Absolutely. Good gracious, Bumbleshoot's making into the show.
Yeah, it looked like it.
Awesome.
I think my comments are frozen. No bueno.
There you go. You're welcome, Scott. Thank you for supporting us and keeping the dream alive and making this as much fun as can be. Do we maybe have a time zone discrepancy with our third host tonight?
Kyle did put out I don't know if you just checked your messages, but he said it may just be me and you, so.
Okay. Well, and if that's the case, that's totally fine with me. If she comes on, and hopefully she'll request to join the live, and that's perfectly fine. So I guess we can get the show rocking and rolling here. And Remco will give you a few extra minutes, 4 extra minutes on the clock towards the end of the show to make sure that you get your piece said. I'm TJ Thayer with TJT Workshop, located here in St. Louis, Missouri. I do wood turning for the most part, but I dabble a little bit in some metal work. And Remco, you and I are going to be talking about life with an Ender 3 and how much fun that is in the 3D printing world. And Kyle, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I'm Kyle. I run Hayden Custom Woodworks. I'm in Eastern North Carolina. I dabble in a lot of larger projects. I do some smaller projects, some cutting boards, chessboards, little things, coasters, bookmarks, but I really have a passion for the larger projects. Right now I'm working on a really cool bookshelf, and I have some ideas for some larger furniture projects in the future.
All right, cool.
Cool. And Remco, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, well, Remco, located in a small town near Gouda in the Netherlands. So that's about plus 7 hours from you guys, or depending on what time zone you're in the States. Yeah, I'm running the Crafting Dutchman. I do mostly hand tool works. Love the small projects, small boxes, small toolboxes. Just finished upgrading my shed into the workshop. So it's a little shed. It's 2 by 3 meters, so which makes it about 6 by 9 feet. Thereabout. And mostly just working on all my tool holders at the moment.
Yeah, I was poking through your Instagram today, as I tend to do before the shows, and I got to say, some of your solutions for tool organization are just awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, just incorporating both woodworking and 3D printing into making sure that everything has a nook is it's a heck of a lot better than the mess that is my shop over here. Is there a specific storage solution that you've come up with so far that you like the best?
Um, yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I made I made the tall drawer for all my power tools. Absolutely love it. I think I stole the idea from Paul Jackman when he was in his last shop. I think he had something similar like that. Absolutely loving it. Just storing all my small power tools in one drawer. It's so much better than putting them up on the wall.
I gotcha. And I suppose in a shop your size, wall space is at a very high premium.
Yeah, indeed. It's storage is a high premium.
Excellent. And just a reminder, boys and girls in the audience this evening, feel free to type any questions you want into that little question box down below, and I'll do my best to make sure that they get popped up and that we get our questions asked. Kyle, what you got going on, man?
Well, yeah, I did a deep dive into your Instagram as well, and I noticed a couple of cool projects. Your first post ever, the light with the rustic barnwood, that was awesome. It was amazing. And I also saw another one that my mother-in-law actually asked me to make, was the bug motel, or the butterfly motel, if you will.
Oh yeah, which I thought just did the other week.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
The bug hotel. Yeah, it's it was my Father's Day build. My shop, my wife hates it if I'm being in the shop all day. But for Father's Day, since it's we've got our first child coming up in October. She said, you know what, I just want to build something together. And she was talking about this bigger bug hotel. So yeah, we sawed up some Douglas pine which I had laying around, and made it into a bug hotel.
And so I'm sorry to talk over you there for a second, Kyle. Is all of that wood in that project resawn by hand?
No, it's being done on the bandsaw.
Okay.
No, we didn't have that much time.
Gotcha.
No,
Sorry, Kyle, please proceed.
For resawing, I tend to use the bandsaw. It's way much quicker and way much more accurate than I am at the moment.
Are you is that bug hotel, are you trying to like attract like certain species of bugs or butterflies or anything in specific, just in general?
No, it's just in general. It's just in general making sure that all the bugs and stuff have a place to live in. Actually, our garden is very green. It's lots of plants and there's a small water feature in it. Yeah, it's trying to attract as many wildlife as we can here.
Cool, that's awesome.
So I saw that you're also doing some tool restoration from a bench vise that you got that was a vintage piece that had a lot of consonants next to each other. I'm not even going to attempt to try to pronounce the brand of your carpenter's vise.
No, it's no, it's a old Dutch brand. I think they were founded in something in the early 1800s, something like that. Um, I think they were making ice skates and stuff like that, and they needed tools for that, which they started producing, and in the end became their became their main thing, actually. And around here they are pretty sought after. And yeah, I came across this. It needed some TLC, but overall it's in great condition. So the only thing I have left to do is turn the handle for it. I already got it glued up. It's sitting here. Oh shoot! It's sitting here. I just need to go see my buddy to get it turned and make it into something nice, and then it's
That,
finally done.
that glue up looks awesome. What kind of species do you have in there?
It's oak, um, with some. I'm not quite sure, but I think it's Iroko. It's some tropical hardwood.
Nice.
It's wild. It looks like Eddie Van Halen's guitar streaking through there, man.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, it indeed does. Yeah, it was just some free-handed free-handed design which I came up with. I thought I want to do something funky to it, especially because it's getting turned. Yeah, I thought let's do something funky and let's see how it comes out. I don't know if it's strong enough because yeah, it's. But we'll see.
Ah, you'll make it work, man. It's going to be
Yeah,
awesome.
of course.
What you got, Kyle? He's got a beer on his lips. Okay, so I got some questions about power in the Netherlands versus power in the USA. So we run 120 volt electricity,
Yeah,
and you've been doing a bunch of wiring in your shop to get it set up and running. Is the Netherlands on 240 across the board?
yeah, 230, 240. Yeah, it's
230. Okay,
not 230.
that's wild. And then the other thing that I kind of noticed is that some of the tool brands in your reels and such are a little unique from what we have access to.
Yeah, such as such as I I think that I think my power. You mean the power tools?
Yes.
It's yeah, it's the part side. It's yeah, I think you can compare it to just some brands for which are the home brands of some big box stores. It's they are okay for their prices. Some are better than than what you might think, and some of them are less than what you might expect. But it, I make it work.
Yeah. No, I use relatively low tier power tools across the board, with the exception of my lathes and my bandsaw. So no, I can get behind finding what you can find and making them all work for sure.
Yeah, sometimes you come across a tool and you think, ah, I might be able to use it, and some people say, you know what, if you need it, just buy once, cry once. Um, but sometimes you come up with a tool you think that might be useful, but you're not very sure. And then I just tend to, you know what, I'm just gonna go for a low tier option and see if it works in the flow. And if it works in the flow, then if it bugs out or whatever, I just go for the bigger one. And otherwise, yeah, it was only $20. It was something like that. It's
Sure. Kyle, what you got, bud?
So I hear TJ and wanted to talk about 3D printing, and I saw all your 3D printing images. I know absolutely nothing about 3D printing. I have no technology in my shop except for power tools. So aside from the 3D printing, because I'm sure TJ is going to get very in depth about that, but aside from that, what are your I got it's kind of a two-parter. So what are your favorite tools in your shop? Like, what are your favorite kind of projects to, like, wooden projects to build? And then I had a question. Do you have a table saw?
No, I don't
Okay.
have. I don't have a table saw. No,
No.
I made a jig for my circular saw to sit in.
Mhm.
So it acts sort of as a table saw. Um, that kind of works. Um, it's out there somewhere in the early stages. So I make do with that. I am going back and forth about it to getting what you might call a job site a job site table saw.
Mhm.
Since storage is a premium, I'm still going over it. um, if I really need it. So far, I still get excuses not to have one. Um, so I make do. Um, what about my favorite tools? Um, I think I'm still going for just the old school hand tools. It's just they're just the most fun to use. Actually, it's for me. It's of course uh, for most projects it takes at least double the time to finish your project. But for me, I get so much more reward out of it just doing it by hand. You really have to put your mind to it to get it done and keep your mind at it. Uh, uh, of, uh, of course, you have to do that with when you're working with power tools as well. But but you have to plan more ahead. How are you going to tackle certain problems in your build or whatever? It just it makes it more fun for me. It's,
So these projects, though, they're your projects. Now, do you do commissioned projects with your hand?
um, if people want that, yeah, sure, I can do that. It's 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 a hobby. I don't need to make a living out of it. Of course, my time. Of course, every time has its value. Um, but yeah, it's. But I don't really charge a high hourly rate for it. I just go for a fixed price on certain projects. Whatever their market value is. I don't tend to go very much higher than that. And at least as my material costs are covered and there is some profit in it, it's fine.
That's really cool, man. I like when I get around to using hand tools. I like that they're quiet, you
Yeah,
know. And power tools are great, but most of them make a whole lot more noise than a bit and brace does, right?
yeah,
Or even just a pull saw or your chisels and a hammer. I mean, that's all.
yeah. And
It's peaceful.
yeah, especially the end planes, and they are peaceful. Using your hammer and your chisels, it can be loud as well. Especially if you're going over it for a couple, for a couple of hours. They get loud. But of course, it's nowhere near in the same category as your table saw or whatever.
And so, do you do any jointing with a jointing plane and winding sticks and stuff like that?
Yeah, yeah. It's mostly done by hand. Yeah,
That's really cool. Again, Kyle, do you know about using winding sticks for sighting jointed boards or anything like that?
Nope, you're gonna have to teach me about that one.
Okay. Well, essentially, the Reader's Digest condensed version of this technique is you put a board away from the end of the board that it usually has two high contrast colors against it, right? So some people traditionally would do like a piece of walnut and a piece of maple, but you can paint walnut white and get good high contrast also. And by sighting along the length of the board, you can tell the shape and where you need to be planing and what you need to do by lining up the contrast line with your workpiece. It's a really fun way of hand planing and jointing.
Okay.
Yeah, the winding sticks are particularly good to get any bow or whatever out of your board. And you use a straight edge to check if it's all level, and go from there. It's fairly easy to get a board squared and flat on three sides, but getting the fourth side parallel to the first, there's going to be tricky.
Yeah. But that's, practically an art form.
Do you have to get your sides parallel? Do you have a planer or no?
No, it's done by hand.
Still do it by hand, do you?
Still do it, yeah. I like to get it as close as possible when I do the resawing. I use a lot of regrained lumber, and I'm still going, still working off the same batch which I made the light of, which you mentioned, Carl. I got a bunch of it in, what was it, 2015, something like that. I made my TV console out of it. Made it something like a floating panel, where my media console and the TV were hanging off. And when I moved, I just I got it all unscrewed, got a little torn apart, and I'm still using the wood for various projects. And I used it as it was, just rough sawn, all grayed out, and all the nails still in it actually. And now I'm going through it and using it for all kinds of projects. And I love finding out the beautiful wood which is underneath.
That's amazing, man. And dedication to craft there is just completely admirable. But again, you work with what you work. Do you have your big, I'm guessing it's like a number 7 or bigger joining plane relatively close? Can you show the camera?
No, actually, I don't own one.
Oh, cool.
It's I really need to get my hands on it. I really want a number 6 or a number 7 would be amazing, but I think that gets a little bit too big for the lengths of boards I use it. So a number 6 will do. Just looking to get one, but also even just making my own. I'm not quite. I don't remember the term, but I think it was a transitional plane. So it's the mechanism, the steel mechanism, as the early Stanleys, but with a wooden bottom. Very cool. I'm going through it to see if I can make something like that.
That's really neat. I saw you sharpening what I think might have been like a scrub plane blade. I think you had a post about that.
Yeah.
And so are you also building or rebuilding anything like that?
At the moment, not. I do have some old molding planes sitting in my drawer here, which I'm just restoring as I go, or as I might, or when I think I might need to use one, just going over them. Most of them are in pretty good nick. Some of the blades are really rusted and really pitted, but yeah, we'll make do of it.
Yeah, I've got a bucket in my garage up above the workshop here full of rusty old pitted hand planes that I want to restore, right? They were a gift to me from somebody who found them in a barn sale or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. There's just been so many other fun things that I want to work on that's not doing that, and so it's kind of getting pushed by the wayside. Kyle, do you want to take some of the audience questions here?
You know, I can actually see things now. So great, yeah. So J-May Woodworks asks, what is your full-time job, Remco?
My full-time job, I am a solution engineer for motion control, which means I'm designing, changing, and being consulted on frequency control drives for whatever the industry needs. So it can be a big, some big mills in a steel mill, or some drives for a custom CNC machine or whatever.
It's a lot of PLCs. Is that what you work with?
Yeah, the PLCs, but mostly the frequency controllers.
Oh, say, gotcha. So
That's
the
cool.
VFDs, variable frequency drives.
Yeah, the VFDs. Correct.
Gotcha. I worked in an industrial maintenance facility for a long while, and I don't know anything about them. We had programmers that worked on it. I know the terminology, but yeah, that's a very interesting career field.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I'm just going all over the industry. It's yeah. One day I'm just working in some dusty old steel mill where they process the raw iron into whatever they need, and the other day I'm in a clean food and beverage factory. So it's going all over the place. Absolutely love it.
That's amazing.
That's cool. And do you want to talk about? I mean, the number of uses for a variable frequency drive are everywhere, but
yeah,
you want to talk a little bit about some applications, maybe in specifics, so that people could know sort of how programming the speed and the torque curves and stuff like that works?
Yeah, it's when I look at the VFD, which is relatable to, I think, a lot of people here. It's the VFD on a lathe, or some guys which own a CNC with a spindle now. It's the same thing. You need to learn the motor as we might say it to the controller, so it learns its the impedance, so it learns the characteristics of the motor. Most of them can do it by themselves. You just start a measurement mode on them, and they figure out all the measurements by themselves. And then you only need to you only need to fine tune the controller for your speed, or for your torque if you're running it in torque mode.
That's really cool, man. Again, it's electric motors are everywhere, like you said. You know, they're in our wall power tools, and then I'm guessing in industrial applications in the Netherlands and elsewhere, you're dealing with converting three-phase power to two-phase motors and such?
No, actually, most motors are three-phase motors.
Okay.
And also in your part of the world, it's most motors are three-phase motors, which are the most easiest to build. So most of the time, you have to go from three phases to three phases. That's the most easy actually. But the VFD, they make a step in between. Most VFDs, they take the three phase or the two phase power. If you have 220 in your country, they make it a DC power, so they rectify it, and then they start converting it back to three phases to be able to control your output voltage or your output current or even the output frequency.
That's awesome. Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of geeky about that. I got a bunch of friends who are machinists, and we talked about constructing a lathe from scratch, and whether trying to find a lathe head that had a VFD built into it, or trying to track down like a preposterous 5 horsepower, 3-phase farm electric motor, essentially, and then using a VFD to be able to program the torque curve on it so that when you're spinning big stuff at low speeds, you can overcome tool resistance, was the discussion that we had. It was really cool. So that's a unique line of work. Sort of driving things forward, we got another question from the audience, which is actually from my wife, which is, what are the most common types of wood in your part of the world?
I don't think I think it's not very different than most part of the states, especially if you're in the upper part of the states, which is let's say the line New York to Washington State, that part of the world. So a lot of oak, or chestnuts are around. Okay, beech, stuff like that. It's walnut is a little bit harder to come by. It's here, but it's findable.
That's really cool.
Now,
Kyle,
yeah, I know that locally to me, I have, like, my parents are from Ohio, and I go there and there's a hardwood store. I go to Myrtle Beach, there's a hardwood store, and locally here in North Carolina, there's a hardwood store. The kind of places that I travel, and anytime that I'm in these geographic locations, I know each vendor always has some unique exotics. I've encompassed a lot of exotic species, from canary wood to rosewood to ebony to Sacupria. I mean, what are some of the exotics that you come across on a regular basis?
I let me think. It's quite. I'm not quite sure actually, because my local hardwood store, they specialize in exclusive or exotic species, which are not very common here. Actually, that's a bit hard. Actually,
So
no, I don't have any specific exclusives which I came across
okay.
at the moment. No.
I gotcha. So Send Me Woodworks wants to know, what wood do you like using? Just personally, what kind of preference?
I I like the looks of the white oak. Um, it as long as you're planing with the grain, then it's absolutely a blast to use. But sawing it or facing the end grain, uh, it's a nightmare. It blunts your tools. It's crazy. Um, but actually, some I have some fun species which I'm working on at the moment. Um, just let me grab back some. I'm just going over the process of getting into some epoxy projects, and a local arborist just gave me this piece of mulberry, and when it's sawn and left out, it goes through this dark two-tone wood, but as soon as you've sawn it and planed it, you get this awesome yellowish in the middle. Absolutely loving it, and I'm working on a sawtill as well for the wall, and when I was planing that down, I came across this same yellowness, and at first I didn't know what it was until I got the other piece from the arborist, and looks like I got myself some nice pieces of mulberry as well, and
Yeah.
that works like a treat, actually.
Yeah, it's mulberry is fun, but again, it fades from that bright yellow into
Yeah.
this golden fair orange color to it almost. That's just it's really unique. And then, do you guys have Osage orange or hedge trees? Again, it might have a colloquial name that's different. They have big green fruits that look like a brain, about the size of a grapefruit.
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
No.
well, Kyle, we got to take up a pool and send a great big chunk of Osage over to him. But yeah, it works very similar. It's really hard compared to mulberry. It's sort of like a subspecies of locust, I think. Don't quote me on that, but it's got the same sort of toughness to it. And if you're working it with hand tools, you're gonna sharpen a lot if you go across the grain. But it's got that same bright yellow color to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was really surprised by the color. So I'm hoping that the epoxy will keep it yellow. So I got some UV resistant epoxy. So let's see how that works out.
That's the big brain move right there. I like that.
Yeah.
My wife wants to point out that the pancake was invented in the Netherlands, and we want to know whether you will like savory or sweet pancakes.
Both the combination of it. I personally love the pancakes with bacon or bacon and cheese. If you might even go that route, but always finish it with some syrup.
Very cool.
I'm definitely adding some cheese to my pancakes next time. I've never even thought of that, so I'm definitely going to.
Then you do like a ricotta?
I think I can. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. All right, and then Kyle, you want this one?
Yeah, hey, will you put them up? I can't put them on the screen.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. All I can do is load them into the bottom of it. And if you're not getting them, it's another one for my wife. She wants to know what project you're the most proud of.
Geez, that's a tough one. The project I'm most proud of. Actually, I don't have it here. It was an exchange project for a buddy of mine. He's a wood turner, more than wood. He's called, and he wanted. We started talking, and he was looking for this box to carry his balls in when he goes to deliver them to them customers. And I made him one out of some reclaimed wood, and I bookmatched the lid. Um, um, I think it's still out there. I think it's about a year ago from now. Uh, it would be still out there somewhere. And absolutely loved it. I did a couple of joinery on them. I did some finger joints, and some. I also made some visible hardwood plugs, dowels, some visible dowels on the back, which were the same reddish tropical hardwood. It's if you know the species, then it's fine. But the tropical hardwoods, they all tend to look the same to me.
Sure.
They're all brown. They're all very hard, and all the same color. They smell different, but yeah, if you have to go off of smell to find a species, I'm lost.
Yeah, no, Paduke especially, which most of the exotic stores around here carry the Paduke. I think I've had a couple of boards that smell like chocolate and cinnamon while you're cutting it. Um, that's a really fun red exotic that I like. I did one of my lathe tools has a bloodwood handle. It's very red when you first cut it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's starting to darken now a little bit from having my hand oils and stuff all over it. But yeah, that's another really fun red one too.
Yeah. Indeed.
For sure. So, do you want to geek out about the Ender 3? You have a V2. I have a V1.
In basics, they're the same machine. They went from the first version. It was loved by the community, and the community made some really cool upgrades for it, which then they incorporated into the Pro. And they did the same thing when they made the V2. And they also upgraded to a 32-bit board with more silent steppers. Absolutely loving it.
Very cool.
Especially with the 32-bit board and the silent steppers. The silent steppers are a must-have. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's like your old 65K modem from
Yeah, it really is. It whines and yeah, no, there's definitely no hiding its existence for sure. Have you made any modifications to yours? I saw that you have is that a magnetic build plate, or are you using glass?
No, it's a magnetic. It's a build-tech build plate. So it's
Okay.
it's magnetic. Absolutely loving it.
That's cool. Yeah, I print on glass that has a bit of a micro texture on the top of it.
Which is the standard board which comes with it. It did okay for me until I started using PETG, which is absolutely pain in the ass on glass.
And is the PETG the flexible one?
No, it's the tough. It's
the tough one. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's the tough one. It's a bit more it's a bit more tough. It can handle some higher temperatures and some more stress.
But you don't have to do it in an enclosure like ABS, right?
No, you don't have to. You don't have to use an enclosure for like ABS. No.
Gotcha. Okay.
You can
So
you can print ABS without an enclosure, but you have to make sure that your room temperature is very stable.
that sounds like a lot of work, man.
No, I don't like using ABS. It you can finish it really well, especially if you do the vapor finish on it with some I think it was ammonia.
Mhm.
But no, it's I have no use for it.
Yeah. No, I use PLA for most of my jig making and projects and stuff. And the only trouble that I've run into is if I get a little greedy with too little bit infill on it, because it'll delaminate occasionally if it doesn't have the guts behind it. But
Yeah, indeed.
little extra wall thickness and a little more infill, and it usually covers most of what I need it to.
Yeah, indeed, and I, if it's a functional part which has to move or whatever, um, I just go the easy way and just do 100% infill.
Sure.
Especially on the little projects like the little knobs and stuff. It doesn't make a difference if you in time if you do a 50 or 25% infill or 100% infill. It might take 5 minutes more. So what?
Yeah, that's not so bad. And then are the print times on the V2 a little bit quicker than the V1? Just because the motors are a little more precise and the processor kind of has its wits about it a little better?
Um, you can run it a little bit faster. Yeah, especially it can handle some higher accelerations. Um, but it's yeah it's a little bit better, especially especially in the accuracy.
That's cool. So we got another question from the audience down here. Midnight Scroller wants to know what your favorite tool in your shop, or you can also say if it's a tool that's not in your shop, what's your favorite to use?
My favorite to use, which I don't get to use a lot, but it's my rabbiting plane. Absolutely, for some reason I love it. It's incomplete, which is still a bummer. I need to get my hands on some tool steel and some brass to make it final, but absolutely loving it. I think it's in within arm's reach here somewhere. Get it.
Oh, that's a cool one.
It's an old one. Absolutely loving it. It's missing the cutter. So when you're doing across the crane, cutting, you want to pre-cut the wood fibers before you plane it off. Otherwise, you get some tear out or the side wanders in a bit. And I need to remake the desktop, but absolutely loving it. Yeah, this plane. It's not very ergonomic on the back. So I just might reshape the back of it so it fits my hand a little bit better. But for the rest of the part, absolutely loving it.
Oh, that one's awesome, man. I totally dig on that. Now, is there a tool that's not in your shop that you like to use as well?
Yeah, I need to get my hands on a shooting board.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I really yeah, I really could use one. Really could use a good shooting board or uh, or a good shooting plane and make the board myself. I have some other smaller jack planes, which might just work for that. but they are not square. So the soles are flat and stuff, but the sides aren't square enough. So too bad.
Cool. Kyle, can you see this question?
Nope, dude, everything's frozen. So is it your wife's?
Yeah, it's if you weren't an engineer.
Yeah, if you were an engineer, what would you like to be?
If I weren't an engineer, jeez. I think I think I would have gone to, or I would have joined the Navy, or I would have been a cabinet maker, something like that.
Sure.
But I think I think I would have joined the Navy if I had some issues finding a job or an education after, which I think is your equivalent of high school. If I had some issues getting in somewhere, I think I would have gone with the Navy.
Nice.
That's awesome. We got another one, compliments of Charlie's Hot Dogs and Lumber. They want to know, do you prefer hot dogs or tacos?
Tacos. I'm a sucker for spicy food.
Yeah.
Anyway, glad Jeff's not here because he would say they're both a sandwich.
I know. I would say that a hot dog is technically a taco, not a sandwich.
Okay, so tomato, tomato.
Well, no, I mean,
they are both a sandwich. That's that's true. That is indeed true. But yeah, I would go for tacos any day.
I gotcha. All right. So what's the future of the Crafting Dutchman? What do you see on the horizon?
What I'm seeing, I think I really want to get set up, finalize the shop in such a way that I'm comfortable just making products for myself or for other people. Just put them up on Etsy or put them up on my website. Etsy is great to get your name out there, but here in the Netherlands, it's a bit of a pain. You pay some extra taxes over that, so that's a little bit of a hassle to go through for the books, but we will see. So that's on the horizon, and maybe even getting a small tabletop lathe, just to get some projects off the ground.
Well, I mean, I can absolutely support you in that endeavor, man. Woodworking on a lathe is the most fun you can have with your pants on. I'm sorry, it's true.
Yeah, no, that's what some of them are indeed saying. But yeah, but my wife would kill me if I got one at the moment.
Yeah, no, my wife gets upset about me tracking all of the shavings all through the house, which is an inevitability.
No, that's true. That's why I got kicked out of the house as well. I had to which I had to convert my shed into a workshop. So yeah, which I wanted to do since we got the house, but yeah, but now I'm here, absolutely loving it.
That's awesome. Do you have a dust collection set up in the shop, or? Oh wait,
Yeah.
no, I think I saw that you made your own impeller system.
No, it's I got my hands on on an industrial vacuum motor. One of my friends um, works in a company who sells and makes these industrial vacuums, and I got my hands on one of those motors, and I built my own collection from that.
That's really cool. And then you 3D printed the, is it a fan shroud or was it just the controller shroud?
Um, no, it's the shroud on the back of the motor.
Ah, gotcha.
And normally it would sit in. It would sit in top of the on top of the vacuum where it's all enclosed. Um, but yeah, it's 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 um, it's sucking the air through itself. Actually, it's blowing the air through itself. It's sucking on the other end. Um, but yeah, it's I could have stay. I could have just kept it as it was, but it wasn't very safe. Uh, you you can still you could have touched all the live parts, so I just got ahead and printed a shroud for it, and also some um, uh, how do you call it? Some pieces with some flanges on it. Some of the ductwork I printed, and all. Sorry, just had COVID the other week. Still coughing a bit. And also printing now some um, oh geez, how do you call it? um, the flanges in between which you can open, dust boards. I just printed some of those, and I still need to put some earthing on the dust collection because it's all PVC now. And to get rid of the statics, I need to get some earthing attached to it.
Yeah, I was very surprised with the amount of static electricity
Yeah.
that even just the plastic flexible ducting can create. I was not expecting it to arc off of the ducting and all over my hands and all over my body when it's a brand new pipe.
No, indeed, it's and it still keeps on doing it. It's just uh, I was surprised by it as well. Although I knew it that it could have happened, that it does happen. At first, I was ignorant. I it'll be fine, you know. It's
Yeah.
But then it took me one day, and that hurt. And then
Yeah,
I saw the build up in the joints where you and then I thought, I really need to I really need to fix that. So I've made some dust connection here, and I need to get it fixed. I need to get some electrics done as well for the bandsaw and the drill press. So might as well do that.
that's rad. And then when you are, as you said, earthing your dust collection, do you just sort of drive a screw so that it penetrates just barely the pipe,
Yeah.
and then do you run just a copper winding out, and then what are you grounding to? Are you going to drive a rod into the ground outside, or again, your shop's kind of small, it wouldn't be too expensive to do that?
No, it's I think I need to get I need to get one of my buddies to lend me a device. Um, I'm gonna measure the resistance on just the earth in my on my electrics. See what the resistance is. But I think I'm just gonna run with that.
Oh, okay. So you're going to ground it to what is essentially the panel for the shop?
Yeah.
Very cool. All right.
It's the same. It's all of the same. It's on the same panel as the house. It has a separate group for it, separate views for it, for the shop. So it's it will be fine.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. That's a good ground spot. Again, I didn't know how removed from the house or what your power source was going to be, and whether, yeah, no ground rod needed or into the
No,
ground.
no, it's my shed is in my backyard, and backyard is 15, 10, 12 meters, something like that. So
Okay.
it's fine. It will do just fine.
All right. Well, the time is now 11:01 Central Time, which means it's 6 a.m. there.
6 a.m. You need.
So you need to go make your second pot of coffee for the day. I'm so glad that you were able to get with us at the dawn's early light. I think your window has gone from black to just a little bit of sunrise up there in the top of the camera view.
Yeah, indeed. I think sunrise is at 5:30 at the moment.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just a crack of dawn at the moment.
So I have one final question. I'll let Kyle ask you one more also. But what motivates you to get into the shop, or what drives you to becoming a better maker and keeping this whole ship afloat?
What drives me? I think it's my yeah, how do you call it?
If you want to use,
No, it's I think it's I think it's just my passion for just handcrafting. It's and also to get my head cleared from all the day by day struggles and stuff like that. It's just getting your head in a different space, getting it cleared out, and expression, expressing your feelings through your products, and making something beautiful out of whatever you have on hand.
that's awesome, man.
So
Kyle?
what on the horizon would be like a dream project, something you really want to construct?
I think my ultimate project would be an old an old tool chest, completely custom built for my tools, which I think date back until to the 1800s, maybe early 1900s, something like that. Completely hand built, all hand cut joinery, stuff like that. That would be the ultimate project. But I think the first project, just getting into something like that, will be, I think, a toy chest for my little boy coming up.
I look forward to seeing both of those.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Well, again, we kind of got to wrap it up here. We like to keep it to as close to a tight hour as we possibly can, and I promised you a couple bonus minutes for our bumpy start, looking for our third post.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
Thank you for being our first international guest on Sawdust Talk. I think it's awesome. You have carried this conversation exceptionally, and I hope you tune in to some more Sawdust Talk. I'm following you now. I'd love to sort of see how your turning goes, and you do a pretty good job of making some beautiful reels as well. So when you get that on the lathe, please take a video of it, man. I got to see it.
Yeah, of course. Of course, when the handle goes on the lathe, I'll certainly shoot some. Shoot some material video out of it. Yeah, of course. Happy to be here. I don't. Most of the time it's a little bit early for me. But yeah, when I remember, I just like to put it on the background and watch it back. When I'm working in the shop, it's always fun to hear the conversation with other makers and what motivates them or get them going during the day.
That's excellent. All right, boys and girls. Well, we will see you all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. I'm DJ. That's Kyle. That's Remco with Sawdust Talk. Brought to you by George Supply Co. We'll see you guys. Have a great night.
All right, see you. Bye-bye.